Hello, and welcome to Canada Reads 2019. In this episode, we will be discussing the top 4 books of this competition. My name is Megan Schwartzentruber, and I will be defending The Nightingale, written by Kristen Hanna. Along with this book, we will be discussing The Alice Network, written by Kate Quinn, Juror Number 3, written by James Patterson, and Inherent Vice, written by Thomas Pynchon. So, what is The Nightingale about? Well, it takes place in France during World War II, so 1939 to 1945, and it is about two sisters, Vianne and Isabel, and their role in the war. So the eldest, Vianne, has a daughter named Sophie, and her husband, Antoine, is often fighting in the war, and she lives in a town that has been invaded by Nazis. And so she likes to keep her head down. In the beginning of the novel, she doesn't like to get in the way of the Nazis. But when her best friend Rachel is taken away because she is a Jew, Vianne has to take care of her youngest son and hide him from the Nazis so that he will not go to a concentration camp. Which starts to get Vianne more involved in fighting against the war, even if it's not fighting in an army. She goes on to save 19 Jewish children and hides them in the local orphanage run by the convent. And she works with the resistance to forge papers for the children, identification papers. And this Isabel, who is the younger of the two sisters, also was involved with the resistance. She wanted to be involved in any way possible in helping to fight the war from the very beginning of the novel. And she started by delivering flyers to all the mailboxes in her town. They were flyers from the resistance, and they were used to publicize what the Nazis were really doing. And then she moved to Paris, where she was working with the resistance there. And she went on to rescue downed Allied pilots and get them over the Pyrenees Mountains into Spain, where the Brits had a headquarters sort of thing. And then from there, the pilots could get back to England, where they could help in the war again. So she saved, I think, around 80 pilots, which was pretty amazing. So the real question is, why should The Nightingale be the winner of this competition, and why should all Canadians read it? Well, for one thing, it's a great history lesson. I think a lot of Canadians don't know that as much as they think about World War II, and it's just a good way to educate ourselves on the topic. It also has many life lessons within it. Both women are very courageous and stand up for what they believe. And overall, it's a really good book. It's an easy read, but it is intriguing. It's interesting. You will be kept on the edge of your seats while you're reading it. It's not a boring book. And finally, why should this book win over the other books in the top 4? Well, for one, The Alice Network. It's also about World War II, but it goes from World War I to World War II, which can be confusing for many readers. and it will almost uneducate Canadians on the topic of both wars because they will be confused about the events within it. Juror number 3 is a typical thriller, murder mystery. You can get that book anywhere. It's not very original, to say the least. And finally, Inherent Vice is about drugged up hippies, and I don't think it's a very good example for Canadians because we don't want a country full of drugged up hippies, do we? I don't think so. So, in conclusion, The Nightingale should definitely be the winner of the Canada Reads competition because of its life lessons and because the other books are not very good examples, or they're not very good reads for all Canadians. So I hope this book wins. I love it. It's very good. And good luck to the author and to the other writers.